Our Media Day coverage now turning its attention to the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Very tough year for Minnesota last year. Had some off-the-court issues and a lot of injury problems, and it resulted in a very tough season, winning just 8 games. But a lot of new faces on this Gophers team, including Reggie Lynch, transfer from Illinois State, who I know will help a great deal. An outstanding freshman class as well. Richard Pitino, the head coach, is with us. I think we do have to focus at least a little bit on last year just to move past it. How do you wipe the slate clean with some guys who had some tough experiences on the court? And we saw it. They lost a lot of games.
Yeah, I would probably say not talk to you, because that intro is one of the most depressing things I've had.
I want you to know, I don't put together those full screens. I wanted to come back in with the win over Maryland. I wanted to just show that, but I was overruled.
I had 2 meetings before our first official practice. One was with the returners, and the second one was with the newcomers. And I talked to the returners, and I said this. I said, guys, you know and I know this is a totally different team, and it's a team that we believe can be very good. But we all got to sit here today and say, how did we grow from last year's team? How have I grown as a coach? How have I grown as a staff? The staff has grown as well. And if you players are the same as you were last year, making the same mistakes and not learning, then that wasn't valuable for us. I think they got that. And then I told the newcomers, we had 6 guys, and I said, all 6 of you need to make an impact. 3 of you were transfers. 1 of you is a 5th-year transfer who played for a very good team, and you were a good player. And then the 2 sat out, and obviously Devontae got injured. And then our freshman class of Amir Coffey, Michael Hurt, and Eric Curry, you guys are the only ones that have an excuse moving forward because you're young. I think the guys get that, and I think they're really excited to play.
What's the biggest challenge as you try to fit those pieces together? Because it's obvious from talking to you. I know even last year when we would speak before games, you'd say, man, we're going to be totally different next year. We got a ton of talent in the pipeline. So what's the challenge when you get that talent of figuring out fairly quickly how to fit those pieces together?
Yeah, I don't look at last year was young and they got to grow to this year. Like, I do look at it like this is a different team, because the young guys will play, the transfers will play. I mean, you know, you could legitimately say Reggie Lynch could play major minutes. Akeem Springs could play major minutes. And then obviously the freshmen as well. So I think it's getting them to gel, but getting the returners to have an influence on the new guys. Say, no, you can't do that in the Big Ten or whatever it is if you want to win. So that's why it's important for the experienced guys to have a great voice in this team, and I think they've had that so far.
Well, Coach, you and I were talking in the hallway, and you said, I like these kids. They're good kids. But ultimately, the identity is something that you certainly are feeling confident about. What is it about this team that you have so much confidence in?
Well, I think, again, we've got some really good pieces back. I think Nate Mason is one of the most underappreciated guards in the Big Ten.
Yeah, a lot on his plate last year.
Nobody talks about him, which is okay. I like that as a coach. But nobody talks about him. And he had an 8-game stretch there where he was one of the best players on the court. Jordan Murphy, again, is another guy nobody's talking about. Jordan Murphy was an all-freshman player, and he almost had no idea what he was doing because he's a freshman. So with those 2 guys back, they're a great core. Dupree McBrayer was somebody who was playing really well at the end of the year. He looks terrific. He probably had the best offseason of any of them. Reggie Lynch was a good player in a good conference. Amir Coffey is one of the best freshmen out there. So there's a lot of pieces. Now, we've got to do our job to put them together, but that depth is there. Took a hit, obviously, with Devontae, and the talent is there. So we're excited about it.
Now, with Jordan, he did a lot of his work last year around the basket. Physically strong, finishes well. Are you going to look to move him around a bit more? Because he is a very versatile player. He's still young.
Yeah, I told him, though, don't be tempted to move away. I mean, your bread is buttered down low. Become great at it. You were pretty good at it last year. Become elite at it. And, you know, he's done that. He hasn't really ventured away from the basket too much, and it'll be a different dynamic for us because Joey King was such a pick-and-pop threat. Well, now it's going to be more of a pick-and-roll, go to the block, get your work done there. I think with him and Reggie, we've got a pretty formidable, if they're healthy, front court.
Now, a lot of coaches will talk about difficulties, whether it's losing games or off-the-court issues, how you bounce back from that. Some say clean the slate, wipe it clean. Others focus on wins. What do you do to turn things around and really rely on some locker room leadership, I should say?
We've lost a lot of close games,
yes.
And I don't think people quite grasp that. And even last year was difficult, but I do think we're closer than people may think we are. What I've got to do is get their confidence back. Yeah. There's only so many speeches you can give. There's only so many things you could say. They got to start winning. And when you win, it breeds more confidence. And you know, bringing Akeem Springs, who beat us, came on our court, beat us, beat Wisconsin, played really well at Notre Dame. He's given our team a lot of confidence of how you need to act in order to be that. So they can't let that last season deter them, take away their spirit. They got to understand it's a new team, it's a new season. Be as confident as you possibly can.
Do you feel good that this is a Richard Pitino team? Because I know that's something, I mean, you've been building for the past couple of years to get to a point where you have guys that fit your system, fit your style. Is this the type of team that you've been hoping to see?
I always was very concerned with year 3.
Yeah.
When I came there, we didn't have a lot of freshmen and sophomores. It was a difficult time to recruit a senior high school class. I always thought we were going to really have to hit reset in year 3. By year 4, we'd really turn the corner. I think we got the team to do that this year.
You were talking about Amir a little bit there. I'm interested in getting a bit more of a sense for him as a player. There's a lot of pressure on him, no doubt. I mean, his dad, we know what a great player he was in the league. He's a legacy guy. He's from the area, so I think a lot of people are going to be focused on him. What's kind of a realistic time frame for him to come in and really be an impact guy for you?
Today, right away.
What's he doing in 5 minutes?
yeah. He's going to be that. He's one of the most talented freshmen, I think, in our conference, if not the country. I'd like to see him score more. He's a phenomenal passer. I'll huddle up the offense and draw up a play. I keep looking at him like, what position are you? Because he's so tall and he's got so much versatility. So he's going to be a major part of it. You know, it's important for us to recruit our home state. We felt like we got the 2 best players out of the state in Michael Hurt and Amir Coffey. But Amir has been better than I anticipated. It's early. He hasn't played under the rest of the season just yet. But I'm very, very excited about him. I think he's got a pretty good rep, and I think it's deservedly so.
You touched on Reggie Lynch briefly there and the role you expect him to play. He has been banged up in this preseason. What's the timetable for him?
Probably out another 2 weeks or so. You know, he was practicing, and he's a difference maker because we can throw it into him. You know, he's ready. I mean, Bakari and Gass were just not ready to play those minutes last year, and that was challenging for them. Where Reggie has played in a good conference for good teams. I mean, you know, they went to the NIT at Illinois State in a good conference, so that's something to be proud of, and he was an all-conference player. So we're really, really excited about him. He's kind of that anchor. He blocks shots. He can score in the post. So, you know, I think he really completes the team, what we're trying to do.
Head coach of the Gophers, Richard Pitino. Thanks a lot, Coach. Really good to talk to you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right.